again, everybody.
What up?
Episode 10, Relatively Speaking podcast, back in your life.
10 episodes.
Yes.
10.
If you're noticing, it's just if you're watching the video, it's just the two of us again. After having last week, episode 9, Evan from American on. Shout out, Evan. Thank you so much for coming
thanks,
on.
bro.
That was
Love you,
awesome.
dude. Thank you.
So now it's just us two idiots back here doing our thing again. Episode 10. Pretty exciting stuff. We're into the double digits.
Yeah, dude.
You know, before we know it, we'll be at triple digits, and then I don't know what happens after that. What do you say? Quadruple digits?
Quadruple digits.
But yeah, we're back. Stoked. Just completed, I guess competed too. The Reading Marathon this weekend. Had a few little crispy boys after.
Yeah.
A couple Americans.
Recovery sponsored by American.
By the fire, threw those baddies in the freezer like we talked about. Had them nice and crispy, delicious. New blend, I heard you talk about, right?
Yep, new blend. I don't know all the specifics of it, but
I feel like this was the first time I had this one, I believe, because I'd had them before, and this one tastes, so it's like a little bit cleaner, like Evan was talking about. It was delicious. So thank you again. We can get into a little bit about the race before we transition into some other stuff.
how are you feeling today?
Like death.
Like death. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You did do the race with a little bit of a cold.
Yeah, that didn't
affect you.
No, I did what I could to, make sure I was all good before.
Right.
Had a little bit of the runny nose, but it was all good.
Yeah.
It's the legs. There's no preparing for it, which is what's insane.
Yeah. Well, because after you did 20, you felt fine the next day, right?
Yeah, I got a false sense of hope for sure, I think.
Well, what is it about? So this was your fourth.
My fourth marathon, yes.
So do you have any takeaways about what the last 6 miles do to your body to put you in this position versus how you felt after you did 20?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. It's so gnarly. It really is. And like we've talked about, although we're, for sure into running and exercising and stuff, we're still fairly novice at it. So it's not like, we can just like do this and be like cool with it. And that's definitely what I was thinking this was going to be like this time. Just because I prepared.
Easier?
Yeah. I thought it was going to be 1,000 times easier than it was.
Right.
I had prepared more than I ever had. I was in better running shape than I ever have been. And based on the 20-mile run that I did a couple weeks prior, that was like relatively easy. I ran 7 miles. So that was on a Saturday. I ran 7 miles on Monday morning. I only recovered for one day. It's now Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And after the 26th,
do
I
you
can
feel like you
walk.
had the same kind of muscle soreness after 20 that you have now?
Oh no, dude. I had no muscle
Right. So
soreness.
why is that? I need somebody out there that's listening to this. And I didn't say this before, but we have listeners in Canada and the Philippines now, in addition to Russia. So if we don't have someone in America that knows the answer to this question, Canada, Philippines, is that a country?
Yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Or Russia, if you know why the last 6 miles of a marathon absolutely frick you,
Yeah.
we'd love to know, because I felt the same. I obviously didn't run this one, but when we did OC, we did 20 a couple weeks before, then ran the marathon. But after 20, I ran that Monday and I was fine.
Yeah.
I could, like you're saying now, like barely walk.
The thing is too, and I don't know, there's got to be something behind it. Like when in preparing, there's really no preparing for the marathon other than what we did. Like in preparation, you can't run marathons. Like I was thinking like, okay, I've thought of, after how hard they've been in the past, like, oh, well, maybe in my next one, in my 12-week preparation, I'll do 3 or 4 marathons. And it's just like, you can't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like to make sure that I can get it done, that I'm not dead, blah, blah, blah. Instead of running 20, why don't I just run a 26 mile? And why don't I do that as many times as I can in preparation?
Do
or
it
whatever,
at the beginning and in the middle.
or something.
Yeah.
But you're just too sore. It takes too much of a toll on your body. I actually heard, who knows, all this stuff is bro science. I have one of my best friends, a guy he works with, was like a cross country runner in college, and I think he ran a 2:32 marathon or something. Like, he's like insane. And he said something about like that it takes your body like several months to actually fully recover from a marathon. Like, the damage that you're doing
from
to
a
your
20-mile run, from specifically a 26-mile run.
Yeah, from a marathon, he
But
said.
why?
I mean, you're just on your feet. What did we say when I finished? I had done 41,000 steps that day.
Yeah, you had 42,000 steps.
It was like noon, and I had four. Yeah. So it's just a lot on your body.
But I think,
mentally, it's gnarly. You can like, well, so where I think maybe it's difficult is like, okay, so also the course, the people, the adrenaline, you're pushing yourself a little bit harder. Which all helps, but all probably then the release of that after maybe, adds some soreness. But like when we do, let's say you're doing a 16-mile run on a Saturday or something, that's relatively easy.
Yeah.
Relatively common.
Sure.
You're 13 miles in and like, okay, I have like a 5K. I'm almost done. When the difference of that, when you're 15 miles in to a marathon and you're just like, dude, I have 9 more miles to go. And then you get to that 17 or 18 or 19 or 20. Most people have only done a 20, a 21, a 22 mile run in preparation. So now you've given everything that you can to get to where your body has been in training.
Right.
And now you still have to push it right. 6 more miles is another 45 minutes of running.
Right.
Like, that's still a long time to go. So I think that's just kind of what happens to, I don't know. I really don't know, because it's gnarly, man. Like, every part of my, like, getting up and down is insane. My calves are so tight right now. My groins are so painful. Like, squatting.
Do you have 2 groins or 1 groin?
2.
There's one on each side? I didn't know that. I thought you said 1 groin.
No, definitely not.
Oh, I thought your area
that would
was
be your
groin.
nut sack.
Oh, okay.
You have 1 sack, 2 testicles, 2 groins.
2 groins.
Hopefully only
one on each
penis.
side.
But yeah, so it's it was intense. But with that said,
still crushed it, dude.
Yeah, I
fucking crushed it. That's right. I said it.
Yeah, for me, like we said, I got a 3:37 time.
Don't be modest. That's a big deal.
Well, and that's the thing. There's so much area for improvement always. Like, I set a goal of 3:30. That's what I wanted, but realistically, I had no idea if I could even come close to that. Mm-hmm. I hadn't broken 4. Yeah, that was a gnarly part.
I'm just over here trying to build you up, man. You're tearing yourself down. Oh, I was 7 minutes too slow.
No. I'm not tearing myself down at all. Yeah. It's just like I'm very happy with that.
Good. You should be.
It shows that there's tons of area to improve. Now I'm just thinking what I want to do. Yeah. If I would like to try and break the 3-hour mark and qualify for like Boston.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
How about when I did my first marathon, I was going around, this is so effing embarrassing. I was going around telling people that when I told them I was running my first marathon, they would ask, well, what's your goal? It's like, oh, I don't really have a goal. I'm just using qualifying time for one of the bigger marathons. Not that I'm going to run Boston or New York or Chicago, but that's my goal. Cause I thought it was sub 4.
So you said
not knowing
to qualify for that.
I was like, I don't know. I just want to run fast enough that it's a qualifying time for one of those.
Yeah.
And then I find out right before we ran the marathon last year, we're in Evergreen talking to one of the guys that works there and talking, but he's like, oh, what's your goal? And I was like, oh, I just want to be, qualifying time. Cause I said it again.
Oh God.
Yep.
And he's like,
he's like, bro, that's like sub 3 hours. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's not what it is. And then I look it up and I just went into just the biggest tailspin of all time. And Sarah's like, it's fine. It's not a big deal.
I've been telling everybody.
I'm like, I'm such an idiot. Like, what was I thinking? I can't, that's like a 6-minute mile.
Yeah.
It was bad. So,
That's pretty funny.
but it was a good one. And then I went and looked at average mile times for my age bracket and my times versus the average times. And I was just like, I can't look at
Well,
this
that's
kind of
what's
stuff.
crazy too, is like you see like some people like I just saw, and obviously, dude, like I said, we're not professionals in any sense of the word or anything. And people do it for fun. We've talked about that. I can be more competitive, but like, I think that there's just like a difference too. Like there's plenty of people that like can run a half marathon and stuff and just like do it, or even a full marathon. Like there's people in their 60s and stuff that do it and do it in 6 hours and stuff like that. Or like, are running half marathons at 12-minute mile paces. And the no shade, but the difference in what I'm finding that's so gnarly is being able to maintain a pace. So it's not like, obviously it's you can't be sub 3 hours or an hour and a half.
Right. Run one, walk one.
Or
Right.
be like, you can't be like at an 8-minute mile and then just slowly by the end, you're at an 11-minute mile.
Right.
To run that and to keep that for the entire duration of the race is where like the real like skill of it comes in, to like hold and maintain the same speed for 3 hours is gnarly.
Right. Pace control
very
is
gnarly.
a humongous
So, and that's what I'm learning, and why, you don't understand. Like, for instance, so my first marathon that I ever did, I don't think we've talked about it on here yet, and then we'll get off of running.
Yeah.
The first one that I ever did, I think my goal was sub 4 hours. And I was running and I was crushing for that pace. Out of 20 miles, so there's pacers on the Orange County Marathon, there's pacers. At 20 miles, I passed the 350 pacer, and I was like, nice. Like I'm going to get up hopefully to like 345. I'll get to that pacer and I'll crush my goal. And I think it was between 21 or 22 miles in, which is crazy to think about. Like the fact that at that section of the race is running through my parents' neighborhood. So I was like coming up to where like my family's going to be like cheering me on. And I think they call it like bonking. Have you heard that phrase? Yeah. That normally happens. And for some reason, and there's probably science behind it, I think they say it's like between like 19 and 22 is usually when it happens to people. And it's essentially like your body just like shuts down.
Yeah.
And so I was crushing. I was super confident. I switched from podcast to music at like 18 miles.
Yeah.
And I think that gave me an extra boost, and I maybe took my speed up. And then at 21 or 22 miles, my body literally like shut down. Calves,
just locked
hamstrings, quads, groins, full. Like I had like 2 like golf balls in my calves. I was like punching them, trying to like get it out. Fully had to like walk. Was able to then like kind of run, kind of walk. And I went from what I thought was going to be like a 345 to I think I went to like 4.
You did one before I did one?
22
or did the first one you
like
did
that.
was the same year that I did one, my first one? You did
no. Well,
our first one was
together
because then you did that next year. You did OC again. I didn't come down for that one, and then we did the third one together. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I remember that.
One.
Yeah.
That first one we did, I was feeling great. Yeah. That happened. So then I think I lost like 35, 40 minutes or something because of it. Jeez. So that's always been in the back of my head. Like, dude, this can like happen to you if you're not prepared, if you're not fueled, if you're not.
Well, that was a big, and you had
So
said it. Yeah.
So I tried my best, improved my time majorly. It was cool. It was awesome. Course was freaking hard. Much more incline than I even knew. For a longer time period. It was about 3 miles of rolling hills from mile 10 to 13. So that was fairly intense. But then, pushed through, got it done.
Did it.
Went over to your guys' house, had a little celebration, chilled. Everybody, Sarah made a bunch of breakfast burritos. We kind of hung out by the fire. It was awesome. But we were missing Finn and Lou. They weren't there.
Right. They were at
camp, right?
winter camp with the Stirring. That's a church up here in Reading. And
it's like a junior high.
Junior high, yeah. It's like a junior high winter camp with the church. And that was the first time either of them had gone to something like that. Originally, Finn was just going to go.
It's an overnight deal.
Yeah, it was
2 nights?
They left Saturday morning and got home Monday afternoon.
Okay.
So
because we had it was Martin Luther
Right.
King. Yeah, had
Right.
the holiday.
Right. So originally Finn was just going to go, and because he had a friend that was helping him raise money to be able to go, and but then at the last minute, the youth pastor for the Stirring reached out to Sarah and was like, "Hey, we really want Lou to be able to come. If you guys can put down a little bit of money, we'll cover the rest of it." Which was rad. Dude. So shout out to the Stirring. Noah, you're the OG. That was really cool. So she got to go last minute. She was super stoked.
So the whole time she was thinking she's not going.
Yeah, the whole time. And she really handled it really well, because obviously that would be tough for anybody to have a sibling go to something that they would really want to go to, but she never had an attitude or, so shout out to Louie. She crushed it, but she got to go. So it was cool to have her be able to have her, her disposition about it rewarded so quickly, because she was able to go. And they both went and they had a great time. And they came home Monday just absolutely zapped. Just both of them just so tired from camp.
Those things were so fun.
Yeah,
just like going to that. It's the best. Yeah. Was it like a big deal? Like a ton of kids?
I think they only said it was like 50 or 60 kids. So it wasn't.
So it wasn't like multiple churches?
No, just a Stirring. Okay. But they went to a place called The Summit, which is out here in Whitmore, about 45 minutes east of Reading. And the property that they stayed at is gorgeous. Like,
is it specifically for
it's like a retreat. I'm sure people use it for other things, but it's specifically used for winter camps and church retreats and different things like that. But they went, and Finn had a great time. He was hanging out with a girl for a little while and took her for a walk around a pond, and ended up holding her hand.
Wow.
Which I still don't really know.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. So, I hope I'm not betraying your trust here, Finn, but I'm just working this out.
It was a handhold like this.
Yes, I did clarify. So I clarified.
That's,
Yeah. I told him I have a very transparent method of parenting with my kids. I'll tell them straight up when I don't know how to handle something. I'll just tell them, look, you're acting like an idiot. I don't know how to deal with you. So I'm going to take a break and come back when I feel like I know how to navigate this. And that's what I told him. I went out to the garage with him, and when he's getting frustrated or worked up, he'll go ride the aerosol bike. That's his thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang, nice. Good for him.
So he was out there riding the bike, and I was like, "What's up, dude?" He's like, "Oh, I just, I'm.
And you guys know, because he told Sarah, he came home and he wanted to.
Yeah. So he didn't come out with it right away. Sarah could tell he wanted to say something, and then Lou was being very hey, tell mom what happened. And Sarah's like, "What do you mean? What happened?" And so eventually, And then when I got home, because I didn't see them till later in the day, I got home and Sarah had texted me and told me what had happened. And so I was like, "Hey, dude, how was camp?" And he's just grinning ear to ear. Like, you already know, like mom told you what happened. And I was like, no, I don't know. Like, tell me what happened. He's like, I don't want to talk about it right now. Let's talk about it later. So went on like through the rest of the day, and he was out in the garage. So I went out there and I was just asking him about camp. And so that's when he told me the whole story. And so I clarified, when you held hands, did you how did it happen? And it was just like one of his homies like kind of set the whole thing up, and they do like a hand holding thing when they're sitting in a row in church, and everyone's like, okay, everybody grab hands. So he did that. And then Finn grabbed this girl's hand, and then they just kept holding hands after everybody let go. Anyway, but I told him, I said, look, I don't know how to navigate this with you. I don't know how to tell you what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
But at this point, as long as you continue to communicate with us about what's happening in your heart and in your mind, we can figure this shit out together. But yesterday he was asking if he could get her number, which we still haven't.
Dude, this is still wild. Isn't it crazy that you're at this point?
Dude, and I don't have any experience.
Well, what's crazy
I have
too is
one girlfriend, and I married her. So I don't have any experience with any of this shit.
Yeah.
You know,
so true.
It's
crazy because like obviously you're older than I am, but for general purposes, we're the same age, but you're in such like we couldn't be farther from the in the same place right now. I mean, I guess you have Penny, but like my oldest is 4, your oldest is 13. So like just thinking about us when we were kids and like having
it's crazy
these things happening and stuff, and now you're in that position. Like I would have like, I don't know, not to make light of it or make it a big, like, is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? What do you tell them? Do you
to me,
like,
that's the tension.
Like, it's like, dude, he held, like a part of me wants to be like, he held a girl's hand, whatever. Even like he kissed a girl, like what, but then it's like, how do you like navigate that? And how do you teach? And how do you like,
the thing too is that if
the consequences of where it could go, how to protect this girl's heart, how to protect your own heart, how to like, a part of it is like no big deal. And then it's like, well, these are like the teachable moments in life.
And that sets the standard for how everything has to be handled.
Yeah.
Because you can't walk that back.
For sure.
It's like, if your approach is, oh, this isn't a big deal, but then it becomes a big deal because you're overwhelmed by it. So you can't walk that back. Yeah. You already said it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to navigate this with him, because to me, it is a big deal for me. Well, so I held hands with one other person other than Sarah. And
oh goodness.
Well, is that true? Yeah, that's true. And I don't know how to do any of this. I don't know how to like, cause to me it is a big deal.
Yeah. It's so wild.
Because to me it's like, okay, you held hands, then you're going to hug, then you're going to kiss. Like that's the progression of how this is going to go. Granted, we're not going to just put him in a situation where kissing this girl is going to be an option.
Yeah.
But the other weird part about, not weird, but the other dynamic, the other factor in this situation is Tallulah is friends with this girl.
Yeah.
Which I knew this was going to be a thing at some point.
Being so close in age.
They're so close in age, and
like is
granted, like
there.
One of Finn's friends likes Lou. And so there's that whole dynamic, but it's just, I don't want to make everything a huge deal, but I also don't want to downplay things. So it's a wild place, and I'm thankful that Sarah is much more level-headed and much more able to cut through the noise of the situations. Cause for me, I'm like, I don't know. I'm stoked for you. Like I want to like, what is it? Dab it up.
Yeah.
It like give you a high five, shake your hand and say, well done kind of a thing. Or be like, why the hell did you do that? Like, how dare you? Like, I'm mad at you. I'm definitely not mad at you.
Yeah.
But it's like we talked about a couple weeks ago. It's going from parenting to fathering.
For sure.
And this is in that season of fathering. It's like, I feel the weight of every conversation I have with him, because I'm not at a stage now with all of my kids except for Penny, that everything I do, they're going to remember.
Yeah.
Every conversation, almost any meaningful conversation I have with my kids at this stage, they're going to remember.
Yeah.
And, so like with Penny, I can still kind of screw up.
Yeah.
Right. And make mistakes or, not that I ever lose my temper with Penny because she's Penny, but, I don't have that room with Finn.
Yeah.
We're very much in a stage with him and with Lou and all of the other kids where it's like, it's real. Like there's no, and that's kind of gnarly, but I think it's cool that, I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about how long form conversations like this between men help young people navigate life and figure out what kind of people they want to be. And, I'm thankful to have like this space to kind of work this stuff out, and hopefully somebody's listening and they are in the same boat, and it's okay to not know, because I don't know what to do.
What's crazy, it's like we were talking about off camera, like I saw just a brief quote on Instagram from Rogan on one of his last podcasts. I can't remember who is the guest or the full form of it, but essentially it was saying like, eventually your kids are going to know who you are as a person.
Yep.
And to make sure when they find that out that you're somebody that they can be proud of.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're somebody that they can look up to and be like happy that you're their dad,
right.
Because like we were saying, we're in different stages of life, and essentially, my kids don't know that. They know the love that they get from me. They know the comfort that they have, the security that they have, but they don't know me as a person.
Right.
And Finn, especially Finn, and, all your kids, like you're saying, other than Penn, are now at the ages where they're going to know who you are.
Right.
And they're going to see how you handle certain tough situations in life. They're going to look to you for guidance in these situations, much more significant than holding a girl's hand, but just like everything, everything kind of is magnified now, and how you conduct yourself in these situations is kind of going to be what they're going to always remember, which is like crazy to think about, because I'm sure you can think of your dad when you were a teenager and how he would react to certain situations.
Totally.
I certainly can think of my dad and how good he was in certain areas, or probably where he would have wanted improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And, my dad's always talked about wanting his ceiling to be our floor.
Yep.
And it's pretty like powerful now when you're in those situations, and especially coming kind of from your situation where your relationship with your dad wasn't necessarily the best.
Right.
Like you're getting to, set the tone for your family and generations. And it's like, it can be heavy.
It feels weighty sometimes. Yeah.
Sure.
But
but it's also so cool.
Yeah.
It's like so awesome to have these moments now.
Right.
And to be like, have the kids that we do, and to like see how, like the fact that Finn like knew he should like say something, that he should like mention it, of course he's not like coming up and like, but like he knew like, there's something here. I don't know if it's a good thing that I did or a bad thing, but I want to like share this with my parents.
Well, he even said when he was there, he wanted to get her number at camp, but in his mind, he's like, no, I need to talk to my dad first. I was like, hell yeah, dude. Like that. And that's where I feel like there's so much grace on like being a dad for me, because truthfully, there's never been a season of life as a dad that I felt like I was crushing it or had any clue what the hell I was doing. But the cool thing is, and a lot of this comes from like, I married well above like my, ability to, Sarah is just the best part.
I think they call that, what did they say in, you punched up? Is that what they say? Yeah, that's like a British term. Like you're punching up when you get somebody that's like better than you, or you outkicked your coverage, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely did that to infinity. She has an ability in those situations where she can very clearly see that I don't have a clue what the hell to do. She just is able to, and not that she has all the answers, but she's just such a huge source of security for me in those situations, because I didn't have the example that I want my kids to have until much later in life, when I met your dad and met Sean and some other key people in life that really helped me screw my head on straight and figure out how to become the person that I am today. But it's just wild when you, like, the age that our kids are, Finn being 13, he could be feasibly married with his own kid 7 years from now. Right. And that's just, it's gnarly to think that that's where we're at. And we're going to be having conversations like this about your kids soon. And yeah, dude, oh man, it's heavy. It's heavy duty, but,
yeah, dude,
it's just wild to be in the season that we're in and where we are in life. But I'm just stoked that we don't have to do it alone, that we've got family and friends and key people in our lives that help us navigate it, because we're not meant to do it by ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. So what's sick too about like doing this podcast is like, we obviously mentioned doing it and we had our reservations and stuff. And like I said, I've thought about this for several years and wasn't living up here, and who could I do it with, and blah, blah, blah. And then you and me spoke about doing it together, and then to actually like make it happen. And now that we're 10 episodes in and we're getting like a nice rhythm, but we've said it's like, even though how close we are, it's not, we don't always have time to like have these conversations. Yeah. We don't always like, we go over to the house, we have dinner or whatever, we're sipping a few beers. Maybe we get a half an hour that we can chill. And then a lot of times it's just like talking shit and having fun. Yeah. Where maybe then I'm ripping Charlie away from the fire to make sure his little angel hairs don't light up, or, or we're stopping him from hitting Penny or something going on. Right. Apple and Sunday are choking each other out. So when we actually get the opportunity to like sit down and like discuss these things, it's like, it's good. And obviously we have no idea where this podcast is going, and, how significant it will grow. Like we said, we got some listeners in different countries now, have no idea how the hell that happens. Dude, who knows? But, if it ever is to grow, like, we're talking through these issues, and we, like you said, with, Rogan talking about on the podcast, like, it's a help for us when we hear other people talk, potentially there's other friends, family, like obviously we have friends that have kids that are probably going through similar things or will be eventually. Right. So to like hear us just like kind of just bullshitting, but figuring out like how we do this, how we navigate this life that we've been given. Like, it's cool. It's a cool thing to sit down, chat, figure it out together, and like leave here feeling good, feeling productive, get this podcast out to you guys, and, get good positive feedback. It's awesome. So that has been a really cool part about doing it. Got great feedback having Evan on. We're going to have more guests, hopefully throughout the year. If we can do like one a month, that would be awesome. That'd be the goal. Got a couple guys lined up, to continue to talk about things, businesses, in our city, bring on another dynamic of having a homie on here with us. But so far, 10 episodes in, it's been pretty awesome. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as we are. For sure. We'll be back next week for you. And, I think that's it, right? That's it. Yeah. All right. Have a good week. Guys. Bye, everybody.